Oh, happy Halloween, you guys. Thanks for being here. I hope my light's not too dark in the background. I think it looks all right. What do you guys think? Let me adjust one thing real quick. All right, I was checking my audio. I've had several audio issues, so I wanted to make sure before we get started that my audio was okay. How are you guys doing today, tonight? Happy Halloween. I hope you're all staying safe out there. Some crazy things going on. I hope you guys are staying away from the grocery stores. They're talking about looting. I am staying away from there. Do you guys dress up for Halloween? Are you guys dressed up tonight? Okay. I think we are good. All right. I think we are good. Well, I hope you are all staying safe. Let me know if you dressed up. Do you guys celebrate Halloween? It was a lot different when I was young. In fact, one of our stories is about Halloween night. How are you guys, my friends? Hello. All right, I have three little short true crime stories. We have Julia Tofana, the Pixie Sticks Killer, and Mary Tudor, or you might know her better as Bloody Mary. And we will start with the elegant Julia Tofana. Julia Tofana was a young woman in her 30s working at the family apothecary in Italy, where her mother had taught her how to make essential oils, perfumes, face creams, tinctures, and she was beautiful and clever and smart. Women all over town came to visit her in her little shop that smelled of lavender and rose water. Julia had a kind smile and soft eyes. The women trusted her with their secrets, and they would whisper them to her behind closed doors. Many of the women complained about being trapped in unhappy marriages, and divorce was not an option. It was the 1600s, along with widespread disease and poverty, so were cruel and controlling husbands. Well, Julia listened to her desperate clients, and in time, she began to offer them something else. She'd say, "Girl, it sounds like you need something stronger than perfume." I'm pretty sure that's probably not the accent that she had, but I can't do an Italian accent, so we're going to go with that. Then she'd slide a tiny bottle across the counter and place it into the palm of their hand. Aqua Tofana, a clear, tasteless liquid to mix into a drink or soup, just a drop or two. The poison worked slowly and gracefully. The husband would start to feel sick, little by little, like he had the flu. And just a few days later, he would pass away and nobody would suspect a thing. And doctors would say, "Poor man, must have a fever." I'm sure that's not the accent the doctor had either, but that's all right. We'll go with that. I can do a southern accent just fine. Soon, hundreds of women across Italy were using Julia's secret potion, and she became almost a legend, a savior to the suffering. For years, Julia's quiet revolution spread throughout Rome and Naples. But people started to whisper her name in the dark corners, afraid to say it too loudly. And then one evening, a nervous wife was forced to confess. And just like that, Julia's secret was out. Authorities were called, and within days, Julia was arrested along with her daughter and several helpers. It is believed that 600 men met their ending with a trusting wife at their side. Julia was executed in 1959 at the age of 39. And for years afterwards, if a man in Italy suddenly got sick after dinner, it was feared it could be aqua tofana. And even Mozart, on his deathbed in 1791, claimed he believed he had been poisoned with it. And that is the story of Julia Tofana. Happy Halloween. Thanks for being here. All right, this next story is about the Pixie Sticks Killer. Hello, you guys. Thank you for being here. You guys make my day better. Just checking to see if there's any comments or questions. And our second story is the Pixie Sticks Killer. These are all true stories, true crime stories that happened in real history. This is Pixie Sticks Killer. It was Halloween night in the quiet suburbs of Deer Park, Texas in 1974. The air was cool, the streets glowed with jack o' lanterns and street lights. Children ran door to door with pillowcases full of candy. Among them was 8-year-old Timothy O'Brien. He was dressed as a skeleton, holding his father's hand, Ronald O'Brien. Timothy's father smiled as he took his son, daughter, and 3 of their friends trick or treating. One house didn't have their light on, and they didn't answer the door, and so the children ran ahead, but Timothy's father stayed behind. Moments later, he returned, holding a handful of large pixie sticks. He said the neighbor had just opened the door after all and handed him the pixie sticks. The kids were thrilled since pixie sticks were a rare treat. When they returned home, Ronald let his children choose one piece of candy before bed, and Timothy picked the pixie sticks. Pixie stick, pixie sticks. But the powder inside didn't pour easily, and so his father helped loosen it up. Timothy took one taste and said it tasted bitter, and minutes later, he was sick and collapsed. But by the time an ambulance was called, it was too late and Timothy died. Panic spread throughout the neighborhood. Parents dumped out bags of candy into the trash, and police worked frantically to trace the source. And when investigators looked closer, suspicion turned towards Ronald because the other pixie sticks he had handed out to his daughter and the 3 other children had been collected before they were opened. And inside of each one was potassium cyanide, enough to kill several people. Ronald's story kept changing, and then police discovered Ronald had recently taken large life insurance policies out on both of his children, just days before Halloween. He was drowning in debt and desperate for money. The truth was horrifying. Ronald O'Brien had used Halloween as his cover, and in 1975 he was convicted of murdering his son with poisoned candy and sentenced to death. He never admitted guilt, insisting he was innocent until he was executed in 1984. After that, checking every piece of candy became a yearly ritual, and to this day, Ronald O'Brien is remembered as the man who killed Halloween. Well, happy Halloween, everyone. And that was the story of the Pixie Sticks Killer. Okay. Ha- Hello, happy Halloween. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever stood in front of a mirror and in the dark and said Bloody Mary 3 times? Have you ever heard of that? Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Let me know if you've heard of this. You stand there and you wait to see if a face appears in the mirror to scare you. It's Bloody Mary. But who is Bloody Mary? Who is the real Bloody Mary? Well, that is our next story. Long before she became a ghost story, Bloody Mary was Bloody Tudor. Uh, sorry, Mary Tudor. Bloody Mary was Mary Tudor. Born in 1516, Mary was a beloved princess. She was the oldest daughter of Henry VIII. She grew up in a world of power, promises, and heartbreak. When her father cast aside her mother and married Anne Boleyn, Mary's happy world crumbled. She was declared illegitimate, stripped of her title, to, and forced to serve as a lady in waiting to her new baby sister, Elizabeth. Years later, her father and half brother had died, and Mary finally claimed the throne. I need to get another drink, you guys. My throat is dry tonight. But how are you guys doing? I have done good. I had one little tiny bite size Heath candy bar. I can't eat too many sweets anymore. Um, all right. Mary Tudor. Okay, so she was a beloved princess to King Henry VIII. He divorced her mom. Then she was named illegitimate, declared illegitimate, stripped of her title, and forced to serve as a lady in waiting to her new baby sister. I guess it would be her half sister, Elizabeth, who would later become Elizabeth, I believe, the first to take the throne. Okay, so years later, after her father and her stepbrother died, Mary finally claimed the throne. In 1553, at the age of 37, she became the first crowned Queen of England. Mary was determined to restore England back to the Catholic faith, and she wasn't going to let anyone stand in her way. She ordered the persecutions of hundreds of Protestants to the flames to burn at the stake. The smoke rose into the sky like ghosts taking flight. Nearly 300 Protestants burned in Mary's 5-year reign. People began to fear her and started calling her Bloody Mary. And by 1558, at just the age of 42, Mary died. And that's when her half sister Elizabeth took the throne. And now, centuries later, children began a game where you stand in front of a mirror, light a candle, and say Bloody Mary 3 times. And Mary will appear with her pale face and sunken eyes, smelling like ash and fire. And if you stare long enough, she might reach out and grab you and try to pull you in. So go ahead, turn off the lights, stand before a mirror, and whisper, if you dare, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. This is probably one of the creepiest things I've ever done. If you were a teenager in the 90s, you might have done this. Let me know if you have. Have you ever heard of this? Did it creep you out if you did it? Are you going to do it? Let me know if you do it. It is creepy. That's probably the creepiest thing. Of course, I didn't see. Well, maybe I did. I won't tell you. Well, happy Halloween, you guys. Those were our 3 short stories, spooky stories. Hope you enjoyed them. Let's see. Julia Tofana with her Aqua Tofana that poisoned 600 men. The Pixie Sticks Killer, who in 1974 poisoned his own son for insurance money and ruined Halloween, the sweet, innocent taste of Halloween forever. And then we had Bloody Mary, who was just a princess bloody, not bloody. Mary Tudor, I want to say bloody. Bloody Mary was Mary Tudor, a princess who burned around 300 Protestants at the stake in her 5-year reign. So there we go. There's our 3 little short stories for Halloween. I hope you guys stay safe tonight. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know if you still dress up. I have not dressed up in quite a long time. Used to be such a big thing. So it has changed a lot. A lot. And that's sad. But I don't have to answer my door to trick or treaters. It's too scary anymore. So I'm going to stay inside and stay safe. You guys do the same. Do we have any questions or comments out there? All right. Well, have fun. Thank you for making my day better. You guys are awesome. I will see you later. Thanks and bye.